Chris.
Hello, Chris. Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji.
Nice to see you again, and hello to everybody, and Jai Shri Mataji to everybody who are watching us. How far you are, how many or how not too many you are. We are enjoying doing that. Not necessary for the big audience, but looks like we have a little bit of audience, and thank you for that. And thank you again, Chris, for being able to make a little bit of time for us. Yesterday we talked not too much about your beginning. We start with a few things about yourself, a little bit of background. I will ask you today later if you want to tell us about the ashram and what's the status of the ashram. And I know you told me that you go there and help with the maintenance. Who's that? Who's that ashram? Who pay for the ashram? I want to know a little bit. But before that, if you want to share with us how you get your realization, when you get your realization, how was this beginning?
Okay, well, I got realization in London. Sorry. Got realization in London in 1982, and I wasn't living in London, I was living in the countryside. So I came to visit London. I had some friends, one particular French lady who had always been, you know, Shri Mataji describes the French as a Les Miserables.
Yep.
So she'd always been very kind of angoissée, you know.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I came and she was all bubbly and joyful, and she said, "There's this lady, and she's the incarnation of the Holy Spirit." So, really? Okay. Anyway, so she told me some stuff, showed me some photographs, whatever, and I guess I got my realization then, but I went back to where I was living in the country. But my life had kind of changed, and I started meditating spontaneously. And eventually I decided to leave where I was, go back to London and find the people who felt the same way I did. And I met the same French lady. She told me about it. I went, "This is it. This is what I've been experiencing." And so then I just stayed in London and came in Sahaj Yoga. So that was early 1983.
Do you remember the name of that lady?
Yeah, her name is Chantal.
Chantal.
She married.
Yep.
She married Ray Harris, who was a very old early Sahaj Yogi. So yeah, Shri Mataji actually came to. They had a wedding in their flat, and Shri Mataji actually came to the flat to sort of congratulate them on their wedding. Okay. And she gave them a little box. She said, "I haven't got you much of a present, but here's a little box." And it was a little wooden box, and it had 4 elephants in ivory inlaid in the top.
Yeah.
And Shri Mataji said, "It's got 4 elephants on for the 4 children that you're going to have." And so Chantal kind of went, "Okay, thanks." You're thinking, actually, we're only going to have 2, but it's fine. But in the end, they had 4. So,
okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So I came back in 1983. I moved into my first ashram after about 3 months, I think. And you know, things were buzzing. I mean, the point was that Shri Mataji lived in London at that time.
Yes.
Yeah. So and we used to have puja every Sunday, 11 o'clock at Chowsham Road Ashram. It's a bit like going to church.
With Shri Mataji?
And no, just
Yeah.
the yogis.
Yeah.
But at the end of the puja, sometimes somebody would stand up and say, does anybody want to go to Shri Mataji's house and help move furniture? So you look around and you think, is that a trick question? Surely, everybody wants to go. But the answer was no, actually, not everybody. So yeah, you put your hand up. Yeah, I want to go. So usually, if you wanted to go, you could go. So we went many times to Shri Mataji's house in Brompton Square and helped move furniture. So 1 week we'd move the walnut wardrobe from this bedroom up to that bedroom. And then the next week we'd go and we'd move it back down again to the. So it was fairly clear that moving the furniture wasn't important, but Shri Mataji always liked to keep us busy. She didn't want us just sitting around and sort of doing nothing and meditating, whatever. So, and then sometimes at the end of a session, she'd say, okay, I think you've all done enough work. And we'd all go into her bedroom or somewhere. And we'd sit, maybe she'd be sitting with the CP on a sofa. And we'd all sit on the floor and we'd watch a Hindi movie. And Shri Mataji would explain the story, because of course we didn't know Hindi. So, yeah, these were very precious moments, shall we say.
And it's fair to say that the atmosphere was a very domestic atmosphere.
Domestic, yeah, I don't know.
Like in the family, you feel like in the family, or you feel like being with Shri Mataji was something close or distant?
No, it was a kind of family feeling. I mean, I say, like when you're sitting there, she's sitting on the sofa with the CP, maybe she's got her hand on his knee or something, and you're sitting next to her and she's chatting. Yeah, it was very kind of like a family, yeah, sure. Yeah. And,
do you remember if some of you asked Shri Mataji different questions about, I mean, important questions, not this kind of day-to-day domestic stuff. Do you personally, or some of you, ask question about the meaning of life or whatever, this kind of fundamental questions in those encounters?
no, because actually, quite early on, fortunately, somebody explained to me that when you're with Shri Mataji, you don't ask questions. You don't start conversations. You don't make suggestions. Yeah, you just
wait for Shri Mataji to engage.
You just surrender, and when she wants to say something, she will say it. So no, I never asked any questions, and I mean, I was Shri Mataji and CP's driver for a few years. So I think one of the reasons why I continued in that role was because I didn't interfere. I didn't start talking to her, asking her questions, or chatting or anything. I just drive,
Okay.
And and with my attention in Sahasrara. So I guess apparently that was the best way to be. And then I say, if she wanted to talk, she would talk. She'd say things.
Do you remember?
I mean, I'm sure everybody had the same experience, which is that the questions you had in your mind, things you wanted to know.
Yep.
When Shri Mataji gave her puja speeches, she always addressed exactly those things which you wanted to know in her puja talks. It was amazing how, wow, that's exactly what I've been thinking of, wanted to know the answer to, like this. So,
do you remember?
I do. Yeah.
Do you remember the others who were there? How many people who are there?
Well, there was a bunch. I mean, I also did quite a lot of work, building work at Brompton Square. So the other main builder who was always around was Pat Anslow. So he and I spent a lot of time. Quite often it was only the two of us. We worked on a lot of Shri Mataji's building projects. And so he was the main guy.
The name?
Then
Sorry,
there were people like
I didn't catch the name.
Pat Anslow.
Aha. Okay. Yeah, Pat.
He was one of the original 7 yogis in UK. Yeah.
Shri Mataji called them. Shri Mataji called them hippies.
Yeah, well, they were hippies. Yeah, I mean, Pat. I mean, he was a real seeker in the sense that he tried everything.
Yeah.
He took all kinds of drugs. He'd drink kind of white spirit to see, you know, like Turk substitute. He'd drink it to see what effect it had, you know. The answer is it makes you kind of crazy, you know. But he was such a seeker that he tried everything, you know. And so Shri Mataji had a lot of work to do on him to clear him out and fix his liver. Yeah. So there was people like Caleb. Don't know if you know Caleb. He lives in Australia, I think, these days. He and his sister were very young because their mother came into South Yoga. And she used to run the main meeting in London, actually, Magda. Yeah. So the 2 children were always around, Dania and Caleb. And, you know, all the usual people from that time.
I believe Louis was there by that time as well, if I remember also from his memories, about 83.
Yeah, I think the first time I met Louis, I think it was in at the Isle of Wight, which is a little island on the bottom of England, said to be the Mooladhara chakra.
Yeah.
And there was a puja there, and I went there, and Louis and Carol had actually just got married. And so they were looking very happy, and that's the first time I met them. So I think that was 1983.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Louis moved to England, and I saw him a lot. I mean, we're good friends, and so over the years we spent a lot of time together. We lived together at Shudi Camps, Mataji's house in Cambridgeshire, and many other places.
So the first ashram was Cheltenham Road, yes?
It wasn't the first ashram. I mean, it's the oldest existing ashram.
Yes.
But the first ashram was actually in North London, and Mataji persuaded an Indian man who had a shop in somewhere near Hampstead or Golders Green to rent his flat to the early Sahajogis. And much against his best judgment, he agreed. Because, yeah. So they, that was the first ashram around 1978, I would think.
Okay.
So anyway, around 1980, Linda Pierce, as she was then, she wanted to buy a house.
Can you say the name again?
Linda Pierce.
Pierce.
Yep. She's called Linda Williams these days.
Yeah.
No, she was Linda Pierce then.
Yeah.
So she wanted to buy a house, and it's a long story, but Shri Mataji eventually arranged for her to buy Cheltenham Road, and then that was around 1980.
Okay.
So it wasn't the first ashram, but it's now the oldest existing ashram.
And wasn't rented, it was a real house who belonged to the Sahaj.
Yeah, and they did a lot of work on it. Linda's husband, Peter, he was a builder, and there there's a guy called Alan Richards, who I think lives in Hawaii these days.
Okay.
And he was an architect, and he designed, so they built a big extension at the back of the house to make the meditation room large.
Yeah.
And did the house up. So yeah, so that, and Shri Mataji used to come, I mean, almost every day, apparently. I mean, that's before my time, but she would come and she'd sit in the front room, which is now the kitchen, and she would direct building operations.
Wow.
Yeah. So she spent a lot of time sitting in that house, vibrating it, and you know, I mean, there's many puja talks from Chelsham Road. There's times she went there, you know, the prayer she gave, you know, Mother, please come in my heart, let me clean my heart so that you are there. I was there when she gave us that prayer at Chelsham Road. And so, yeah, it's a well-vibrated house. Yeah. Which is why, when actually Linda wanted to sell it, Shri Mataji was very keen to keep it in Sahaj.
Uh-huh.
Now, Shri Mataji had many houses in England, but they were all sold. There was Brompton Square, there was a flat in Victoria, there was Shugi Camps and Ealing House, you know, all of which we did a lot of work up, and but they were all sold. Whereas in other countries, she donated her houses to Sahaj.
Yes.
But all her houses in England were sold. But she was keen to keep Chelsham Road in Sahaj.
So Chelsham Road, it's still now
yeah,
the property of Sahaja Yoga somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
I mean, the property
anyway,
of a Sahaja Yogi.
Yes.
Who's that? Who's that yogi?
That's me. So around 1990, say Linda wanted to sell it. She was living in South Africa and she wanted to buy a house there. So she wanted to sell Chelsham Road. And Shri Mataji asked Brian Wells, who was the kind of leader at that time in England, or one of the doctors, did he know anybody who might be interested to buy it? And it just happened I was about to inherit some money. My parents had both died, and so he arranged for me to buy it off Peter and Linda. So yeah. Anyway, that's a long story.
People are living there now?
Yes, it's still it's still the main ashram in London actually at the moment. I mean, recently there's been about 4 ashrams in London, but Chelsham Road is always, functional. I mean, they have a Friday night meeting, for example, mostly for the yuvas, but actually anybody is welcome, and it rotates. It goes around the 4 ashrams, but Chelsham Road is always, I would say, most of the other ashrams become offshoots of Chelsham Road. So people move out of Chelsham Road and start a new ashram somewhere else. And so it's doing a good job. Yeah,
it's like a hub.
It's like a hub, and it's a kind of it's been a center very much for the Yuva Shakti.
Yes.
Because young people move in.
Yep.
So because of that, there was a very, quite a dynamic Yuva Shakti community in UK, which meant that other Yuva Shaktis moved to UK. So at one time there were probably like 70 or 80 pretty dynamic, active Yuvas in London, which is, it's very positive. It was quite good. In some countries, the yuvas don't get so much involved in Sahaj Yoga. But in London, they run Sahaj Yoga. There's also another meeting run by the older yogis, but the yuva one is more sort of dynamic. So.
Obviously, because of their enthusiasm and probably the young people
joy.
are more dynamic.
Yeah. And the Friday night meeting they have, I mean, they always sing bhajans, and because it's in their own private house, it can go on a bit later. People can hang around and chill out and chat and whatever,
Yeah.
So it makes a very good center, a good hub for the yuvas in London here.
I want to ask you a personal question, which also have a touch of Sahaj Yoga, obviously. When you married, Chris?
Yeah. Got married in 1990. Actually, there were two lots of weddings in 1990 in Ganapatipule. One in January.
Yes.
And one in December.
Oh, okay. December 1990, end of the year, obviously, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, it became a tradition to have Christmas puja at Ganapatipule.
Yes.
But that was actually wasn't in the early days. That became so later. So our wedding anniversary actually is January the 10th.
So you married in January 1990, not in December 1990.
That's right, yeah.
Because why I'm asking? Yeah. Because we get realization in 1990, Romanian collectivity, and by the end of 1990, some of us, a group or quite big group, was invited by the French people who take care of us and sponsor us different activities in the tour of India. So the first time when Romanian go to India, not myself, I was a little bit later, but the first group of Sahaj Yogi who went in India was in 1990 in December. That's why I'm asking. But they assist to some weddings because we are quite new people, not ready for marriage in Sahaj Yoga. So the group of Romanian, although many of them are, or most of them were young, but they don't marry there, but they assist to the wedding. So I was thinking that you get that wedding, but no, you said you already been married by January.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big wedding. I think there were 108 couples.
In January?
The wedding. Yeah, it was a very big wedding.
Wow.
And actually, of all the people that got married, I was the tallest and my wife was the shortest. So, yeah. We still have in England, sometimes we have a reunion of couples who got married on that date, because about 7 or 8 couples in UK who are still in Sahaj Yoga, still together.
From that time.
From that one, yeah.
That's fantastic.
So, that's good. Yeah. So.
I remember last time when we talked on the previous chat, I was starting, when I was talking about you, I was starting to tell to our viewers that I was heard about you, cannot be someone else who start learning Sanskrit. So I probably heard about that in 90 or 1991. My question to you.
That's not me. That's not me.
Okay, that exactly is my question to you. So you get already the answer. But the question still, when you start learning Sanskrit, and why?
Okay, well, around 1998, I should think. So do you know Alan Wherry? Alan Wherry?
No, I
It's
don't.
an old Sahaji. Lives in New York these days, but he's originally from Northern Ireland, and he's sort of, been a very active Sahaji. He's been on the sort of the World Council Publishing Committee and stuff like that. So he said to me, Chris, in his Northern Irish accent, we should correct a few mistakes in the mantra book and reprint it. So I went, yeah, okay, great. So I went round to his house like once a week. We'd spend a few hours working on the mantra book. And it became fairly clear fairly quickly that there weren't just a few mistakes. There was a lot that needed fixing. And then it became clear that actually, if you didn't know Sanskrit, it wasn't really possible to fix it. Okay, so I started learning Sanskrit in order just got a dictionary basically and a book of grammar in order to be able to fix the mantra book and correct it and whatever.
So you said that one, that conversation and that project start in 1998.
I would say 97, 98, yeah.
97, 98. What mantra book you corrected? What edition was the first edition or was already the
Well, no, I mean the first edition was reprinted
yes
3 times.
yes
So 1, 2, 3, and 4
is
are
the same.
essentially all the same.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean they didn't have any notation, shall we say? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't know, for example, whether an A was a long A or a short A. Very different, yeah. So, for example, in the 108 names of Sri Rama, there's 2 names. One is Jita Mitra, and the other is Jita Mitra. But they look exactly the same if you don't have a notation.
Yes.
To show you that the Jita Mitra is a long A. Yeah?
Yes.
So the meaning is almost exactly the opposite. So it became fairly clear that you've got to have notation actually on the Sanskrit, or some notation.
I will promise I will come to that, continue that story. But because we are here, and I fully agree with you, but not everybody take notice about that. Even some people doesn't care. So there are layers. So people who doesn't care, people who doesn't know, people who knows that should be done correctly, but disregard it. And finally, people who finally know how to do it and at least try, because they know the importance of pronouncing not only the name of the deities, the name of God correctly, but all the names, because those are prayers, and prayers are transmitted to us directly by God. Some of the prayers, okay, are made it by saints. Some of the names are made by or give or list of names, but the original one come directly from God. And pronouncing correctly not only the name of God, the list of name, but everything in that prayer, like in Ganesha Atharva Sheersah, I have it here. We have to be very, very clear about that. Can you develop a little bit around this idea? Because it's have some weight coming from me, and I believe it's a completely different way coming from you.
Well, I mean, I would just say that Sanskrit is the language with which we can talk to God.
Yes.
So if you're not interested in that, why are you in Sahaja Yoga?
Exactly. Very good point. Wow, I love it. Yes, that's the point. That's the point. I mean, don't treat it like any other uh, saying. It's not a saying. It's not just an affirmation. It's more important
No,
than that.
I mean, Shri Mataji,
Yeah.
she's also said very clearly that when you say stuff to me in English, it doesn't have much effect. But when you address me in Sanskrit, I feel it. It's like, you know,
She said that.
it's yes, yes, yes. She said this. That's on tape.
Wow.
I don't know if you have it. I have this thing called the Divine Message, which is a single file containing all Shri Mataji's talks and books and quotations and things she said. So it's a very useful resource, yeah, produced by a fellow Romanian of yours, Adrian Virasu.
Of course, I know. I know him, and I know him from the beginning. I've been to his town when he was in the beginning of Sahaj Yoga. I know him.
Right, right. Well, I mean, he does tremendous work. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
he started up the Amrita
Yeah.
website, and you know this, and he still does all this work on various collections of Shri Mataji's talks and things. So that's you can download that PDF from a
I
thing
have it.
called
No, I have it.
CHRIS.
I have it,
Yeah,
and I have the update it every time when because he will.
sure.
I hope he will come to this program as well because I plan to chat with him. Or obviously we know. But speaking about the pronunciation, to be correct with the pronunciation, I will give you a little hint about his name. It's not
Yeah,
Vasiu, it's Vasiu. You have to put the accent
right.
correctly. Vasiu.
That's you. Okay,
Vasiu.
that's good.
Just because I know
Perhaps you also pronounce Adrian differently in Romanian.
Adrian.
Adrian, yeah, okay,
Adrian.
quite different, yeah.
Adrian. I mean,
So,
plain, not put the accent anywhere. It's just Adrian. It's quite linear.
yeah, but
Adrian.
also, and then Adi is actually short, isn't it?
Yes, Adi is short for
Adrian.
Adrian, so we call it
I
Adi.
didn't, I didn't understand that for a long time. I knew all these Romanians called Adi. I thought, oh, that's very in Sanskrit, you know.
But we have a lot
Yeah.
of Sanskrit names in Romania, like Deva.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
I know a village where I have some bees with a friend of us called Ganesha.
Okay.
Ganesha,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. Yeah.
But there are many other. It's one Siriu, Shiriu. Basically, probably that one is from the star Sirius. But there are many names in water in Romanian. It's apa.
Okay. Yeah. Same as Sanskrit. Yeah.
Exactly, like in
Yeah.
Sanskrit. So there are many, but I don't have nothing in mind. It's a girl in Romania, a lady, no more girl. I know her since she was very young, who also knows Sanskrit. It's a violinist, also knows
Okay. Well, I
Sanskrit.
know Romanians are very musical people.
Yes, yes. She
Every
belonged.
are you? Every Romanian I know seems to be play something or sing bhajans or whatever.
Not me. So I'm the
Not
exception.
you.
I'm the exception. I have no musical ear. I like to listen. I like to sing. If majority of us sing well, I manage to fit a little bit there, not being very bad. But
Yeah.
to
Sure.
sing by myself or just with one or two people is not possible because I have no real voice. Um,
Okay.
so coming back to the Sanskrit, you
Yeah. Okay.
correcting that mantra book.
Yeah. I actually sort of we did some work on it, and then I left it for a couple of years actually. various reasons. I moved to India, and I found myself in India with sort of time on my hands, we say. So I started to read.
When you moved to India?
2001.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly the same year when I moved to New Zealand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So I started to research the book, in other words, trying to find out where everything came from. Yeah? So I was Pune, as it was called then, was actually the best place. Pune is, it's the holy city. Yeah, that's what Pune means.
Yep.
And it's full of temples. It's full of bookshops that sell every kind of spiritual book, all the Puranas and everything you want. So I managed to track down everything that was in the mantra book, where it came from, the original Puranas or whatever that it was originally from, which meant that I also could tell exactly what the right Sanskrit spelling was, because I had it in Devanagari, So, and I finally produced. So my findings, I gave them to the World Council in Puja in Los Angeles in 2003, and so then they went ahead and produced a new mantra book. It was kind of, based on my findings. Yeah. So now there's been several editions.
Yes, that one, the corrected one by you is let's call it the edition number 4, yes?
No, the first edition they produced, the World Council produced after I gave them my research, was edition 5.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But anyway, it's kind of a long story. But for some reason, they always like to produce these behind closed doors. They don't release them for anybody to check before they print it. So we've had this strange situation where they produce a new edition of the mantra book, and then I tell them what's wrong with it, and then they correct that in the next edition. So finally, we've ended up with edition 8.
Yeah, I have that edition, and I have few of the old one. Maybe if we have time and we can talk a little bit about the composition of this edition. I have 2 questions about that. One, but again, I'm sure you are not responsible directly with the content of the mantra book, or maybe you are not completely in charge of the correction. But I will.
No, I'm not in charge at all. I'm not officially on the mantra book team.
You are just.
They won't let me on. They want to.
You are just a consultant.
Not even that. No. I'm just a nuisance who points out to them all the mistakes they make.
Chris, dear friend, even we are not able to persuade people about something. Telling about what we believe it's right, I reckon it's a duty. I always do like that. No matter what the majority or the current or whatever goes, if I feel that I have to say something which is a bit different than that one, I always said. Therefore, I will ask you, maybe not now, we will develop those probably, hopefully, those two ideas. In the mantra book, there are list of names which we know originally are not as a list. There are slokas in Sanskrit who contain the name of the deity. We make the list for our convenience.
No, actually, that's not true. No. The Indians also make the lists.
Oh, yes.
And they say the names. They say the names individually. So, say the names of Sri Ganesha, 108 names.
Yes.
Whatever it is, Vinayaka, Vignaraja, blah 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 blah.
But originally,
it's a poem.
Those are
it's a poem
of a sloka, like a poem.
Yeah, it's a poem. Yeah.
Nothing wrong.
Okay, but the Indians themselves break them down and they say, Om Shri Vinayakaya Namaha, Om Shri Vignarajaya Namaha.
When I said we are making the list, I don't say me and you or even Sahaj Yogi. We humans are making the list. We taking the name from those slokas.
Yeah.
The Indians
wrote the slokas.
Yes. No, that's nothing wrong. Still okay to take the names there. And now we put those lists in the mantra book, but also those list of names or eulogies or other things are taken from the Puranas.
Yeah.
The majority of them. I told you the other day that I read something. I don't want to enter too much into detail because it's not about me. But what I read it's full of this kind of eulogies or names of the deity. And I take them out and I will make a compilation. That's for myself. From Skanda Purana, I told you before. So it's a big collection. I already have tens of them now. But it's just for me, like a hobby. The point is, the mantra book, it's also not full, but have some names or prayers from the Sahaja Yogi to Shri Mataji in different occasions. Not mention it. Sometimes they don't mention the original one from the Purana that are from the Purana, or not mentioning about their prayers that are from some Sahaj Yogi from some location. Again, nothing wrong with Sahaja Yogis writing down and say to Shri Mataji those prayers, but put them together, make a little bit of confusion. So my suggestion is to have two book of prayers, whatever we call them, mantra book or not, one with the prayers who come from the holy texts, the original text, and one, because we have plenty of those one, with eulogies or prayers say by the Sahaja Yogis, sometimes invented name, nothing wrong with that, like Americheshvari, it's okay, but having a different book.
Well, it's an interesting idea. I mean, personally, I've always I've pressed over the many years since 2003 that we should have a collective discussion, that your opinion, my opinions, the opinions of Sanskrit scholars in Sahaja should all be listened to, and that we should collectively decide what we want the mantra book to be.
Yes.
And that has, they don't want to entertain that idea.
Okay. I said what I have to say. That's That's my opinion. The other topic I want to talk with you sometimes, again, not now to develop too much, is the Shri controversy.
Which one?
The Shri.
Street, yeah.
You know the Shri controversy, the little star, the asterisk, put it in front of the names.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I know the story. I know why. Excuse me for 1 second.
Yeah.
When I hear for the first time about this idea, I always feel bad. I said it's not all right not saying the Shri in front of a god, a deity name. The deity names is the deity names, is nothing else. Is not a name of a Rakshasas. Is not a name of a negativity, is the name of God. Not saying Shri in front of it, actually you insult God. Now,
Not really, no.
Shri Mataji talk about that, and I go to that talk from 1982. And
Yeah.
and I studied that talk from the beginning to the end, obviously focusing on what she said about that name.
Yeah, Rakshasagni.
First of all, she was very upset from the beginning. She was very harsh in that meeting with the Sahaj Yogi. They managed to upset Shri Mataji somehow. Doesn't really matter. It's not our purpose now to develop that. And she was very harsh with them with everything. When she come to reciting the names, somehow they don't read it. Was an Indian who read the name. He read it, okay.
Rustam, Dr. Rustam.
Dr. Rustam. They don't read it. They have some interruptions. And at some stage, he said that name as a name of the Rakshasas, only the name of the Rakshasas. And Shri Mataji said, you go to the talk, to the video. Shri Mataji said, no. In front of that name, you don't have to put Shri because it's a Rakshasas. But before to be a name of the Rakshasas, what was most important was that name was the name of the deity who killed that Rakshasas. That's the only time when Shri Mataji talk about that. Until there, and even after, long after, all the mantra books do not have this forbidden. Long after that, some people realizing, listening that talk said, oh, we don't have to put Shri in front of the names who contain name of a Rakshasas. But I said, no, it's not the name of a Rakshasas. It's the name of the deity who killed the Rakshasas. Hantri.
No, I mean, in India, they will say Shri Maheshwaramardini.
Yeah. And from there, develop, and there are some mantra books full with these asterisks.
Yeah, well, edition 7 was the most extreme.
The edition 7, it's full of that. After that, some people come to their senses, and I believe you also have some influence, and they drop a lot because they managed to go that far. When a name of the deity said something wrong, I mean, contain something bad, like sin, or like, I don't know, something, they put asterisk straight away. Slowly, they start to drop a lot of names. And in the, the edition 8, there are not so many, but still. So,
well, I believe, if I may tell you, I haven't managed to absolutely confirm this, but I believe that edition 8 was produced by Gregoire before he died. Because Gregoire was the guy in charge of the mantra books, yeah? And I think that before he died, he decided, he always had the plan to cut down the mantra book, get rid of all the extra stuff, and have a separate book called the Book of Worship, which would, contain stuff that wasn't actually mantras. And the mantra book would just contain mantras. So I believe that he produced edition 8 before he died, so that he left that as his kind of legacy, that he finally fulfilled his idea of reducing the mantra book to just mantras and having a separate book for other materials.
But it's not, because there are a lot of list of names which are not from the sacred texts, are the fruits of Sahaja Yogi who present to Shri Mataji in different occasions.
Yeah, there's actually some that were composed by Shri Mataji herself. I think at least 3 or 4 sets of names.
Yeah, some of them have Shri Mataji's intervention, which is okay. That one should be there, absolutely. Because I want to ask you something else. From my part, I don't know too many prayers who come directly from Shri Mataji. The matrix, we use it, Om Tvameva Sakshat, Shri, the name. It's a question. It's from Shri Mataji?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, originally, I don't know if you know, but originally it was actually much longer, the mantra.
Yes, I hear it
was,
in the beginning, yes.
Yeah. So,
the 3 mantras also are from Shri Mataji, yes?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think actually, no, the 3 great mantras were composed by an Indian man, because they were having a seminar in India and they printed up some booklets and they showed them to Shri Mataji, and it had the 3 great mantras in it. And Shri Mataji, this is the story they tell in India at least. Shri Mataji looked at Shri, goes, Om Tvameva Sakshat, Shri Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, Mahakali. And she said, actually, it should be Shri Mahakali, Mahasaraswati, Mahalakshmi. Yeah, because that's the order of the deities going up.
From left? From left?
To left, to right, to center.
The center.
Yeah, that's always the pattern. Left, right, center. Left, right, center. Yeah. So the guy said, well, actually, Shri Mataji, we've already printed the books. She said, okay, let it be, it's fine. So no, she didn't actually compose them.
Okay, I knew about the order, but I didn't know exactly about the fact that she didn't compose it. So that's a very useful or important piece of information, historically speaking. I have a question to you. When you say the 3 mantras yourself, how you started? With Shri Mahakali?
No, I don't know.
No?
No. I have done. I've tried it. It's fun. But personally, my main belief is that we should, what should we say? We should stick to what is normal in Sahasrara. I mean, I taught in Dharamshala school for several years, and I mean, the policy there was, teach normal Sahaj Yoga, not some kind of personal view on how it should be, but actually what is normally practiced everywhere in the world in Sahaj Yoga. That's how we should teach Sahaj Yoga to the kids.
Yep. There are two things here. One is the teaching or going with the collective, and the one is how you feel it's all right. And it's not only because I feel it's all right to start with the left, but because also Shri Mataji said that. I have to admit, even I will be probably blame about that. I don't know. That domestically at home, I always start with Shri Mahakali. When I'm in tomorrow I'll go to the puja to Auckland for Shri Adi Shakti Puja. Always when I'm in the collective, I don't even dare to say something else than everybody else. But knowing that this mantra was corrected by Shri Mataji, on the other hand, because she leave it like that, means it's not too important.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I mean, Shri Mataji would sometimes say, at a puja or something, she'd sometimes say, actually, you people do this, but actually, you should be that. And you think, oh my God, we've done that for years. And she never said anything. And then she finally just sort of, drops the little hint, which most people don't pick up on,
Do you remember the time when we are doing the bandhan first and after that we rise the Kundalini?
No, don't remember that.
Because we are rising our Kundalini now and we are doing the bandhan. That's the order.
That's because that's what Shri Mataji showed us.
Yes.
That's what she does in the public program.
But was a time before 1990 when we are doing the bandhan first and after that rising the Kundalini. So that was changed by Shri Mataji. By Shri Mataji.
Well, I don't remember that. I mean, I say I came in 82, 83. So I think it was already raised Kundalini, put on bandhan.
No. When I come in Sahaj Yoga in 1990, already we have that one. Bandhan and rising the group. I'm talking about 1990. Very soon after that, we changed.
In Romania.
Yes, in Romania, they teach us like that. And after that, after a little while, not long, we change it. I have another question. All the Sahaj Yogis are also worshipper of Shri Ganesha. We know the importance of Shri Ganesha. We don't have to, maybe, yes, maybe. But we don't have to emphasize. If you ask someone, if you ask 100 Sahaj Yogi, everyone will say that Shri Ganesha is very important. Also, we know the stories about Shri Ganesha, everything. How he was made the leader of the Ganas, and the stories about cutting the head and everything, and how he became. There are a lot of legends. But those legends, the purpose of those legends is to make Shri Ganesha a bit more close to us, to understand him a little bit. Most of them are metaphorical. But the main things remain. He is the one who have to be worshipped first. Everything we started, we have to start with Shri Ganesha. So my question to you is, why we have to start the meditation with Shri Ganesha? Why? No. The question is, why sometimes we are not starting the meditation or everything with Sri Ganesha, and we start with the 3 mantras.
Do we? I don't know.
But you know it's happened.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It doesn't matter, you know. It's like, I mean, God is one, you know.
Yep.
So, different aspects. So if you say we should always start by worshipping Sri Ganesha, presumably that means putting attention to Mooladhara chakra.
And going up.
Yeah. But until you establish the Mooladhara chakra, which is the quality of being in the present moment, in the here and now, without thoughts or desires, once you've established that, then everything works out. But until you've got that established, it's all a waste of time. So you could say that's why we have to worship Sri Ganesha first.
Yes. But again, we don't know why we're starting with 3 mantras, because for me, it's not only no-brainer, it's also from the practical point of view and from spiritual point of view, from all point of views, is to start from left to right to middle, from down to up, not the other way around. Because there are some rules here. You cannot disregard all the rules. It's not the rule is not a good word. It's probably the protocol and the auspiciousity. I believe that, but that's me. Probably I sound a little bit fanatic, and I'm sorry about that. But that's me.
Well, I would say that we are very fortunate in Sahaj that strict protocol is not necessary.
I know.
But what counts is, what comes from the heart. Okay. But I would then say, as long as you don't know better.
Yeah.
But if you do know better,
yes,
then you should stick to it.
Yeah. That's why the knowledge is important.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, Shri Mataji stressed the knowledge a lot. She said, the 3 channels, the 3, bhakti and what is it called? Kriya and jnana, and knowledge, the 3 paths.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to have all 3. You've got to have bhakti. You've got to have kriya. You've got to act. You've got to do something. But she said the knowledge is the main point. Without the knowledge, everything else is a waste of time. You could be very, very devoted Sahaja-yogi, and sort of, but if you don't have the knowledge, it doesn't really mean anything. You don't really understand what it is that you're experiencing.
Did you know that saying that, a lot of Sahaja-yogi will said, doesn't matter. We are bhaktis, so that's all that is important. We just
then they have to listen to Shri Mataji's talks, have they?
we just worship Shri Mataji. We don't care about reading or going deep into knowledge. Will be enough for us if we are strong devotees. We don't want to read.
No, I'm not saying knowledge doesn't mean reading, actually. It doesn't mean intellectual knowledge.
Yes.
It means, direct knowledge.
Very few of us have direct knowledge. My point is, the intellect is not something bad by itself. It's like the hand who it's used to hold a tool, but it's also used to hold a sword or a knife. So you can do something good with your hand with a screwdriver, but you can do something bad with your hand with a bat to beat someone. It's exactly the same like the intellect. So we need the illuminated intellect to be able, and the discretion as well, to be able to know the truth, to try to find the truth. Because
intellect is, I mean, it's the quality of the central channel.
yes,
and obviously we have to go up the central channel. That's the point.
exactly.
Yeah. And if you look at Plato believed that there were the three, the appetitive soul, and then the kind of ego-oriented soul, and then there's the intellectual soul. And he said that unless the intellect is in control,
yes,
of the others, you won't get to the goal. So the intellect has to be strong, and that's what education is. I mean, why do we educate our kids? And the answer is because it develops the intellect.
yes.
So they become in control of their appetites and their instincts and their urges and passions and selfish desires.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So education is very, very important.
Yeah. I reckon Plato take this idea obviously from his master, Socrates.
Well, yeah, I think actually it all goes back to Pythagoras. Pythagoras is really the key, the main instigator of all the Greek philosophy. He was the master, Pythagoras, actually.
Some people call him a big master, a realized soul, Pythagoras. He lived long before Socrates, long before
a couple of hundred years. Yeah,
couple of 100 years.
Yeah.
Some people consider him a god. I mean, some people from antiquity.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
But probably he was a master as well. Like probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
Coming back to Shri Mataji's mantras.
Yeah.
I'm also very passionate about the drawing of Mooladhara petals by Shri Mataji.
Okay, yeah.
From the book of Adishakti. I don't have it with me, but we know what is.
It's in the Ganesha Atharva Sheersah book, actually.
You have it there as well, eh?
It's also there, somewhere in the middle,
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
For the later edition, at least.
Yeah. No, I have it. I have it here. So. Not very visible. It's a bad copy. That's it's not from Shri Mataji, but it is the same. Personally, I use that as a way of meditating on Mooladhara and as a way of awaken the qualities in Mooladhara, because we are told in the beginning that Mooladhara have only 4 qualities. Each petal have 1 quality, but obviously in Shri Mataji's drawing, sorry, it's not visible here, but we all know what we are talking about. There are Shri Mataji develop all the petals with sub petals. So basically, are not only 4, but are 3 times 4, because in each petal, she described another 3 sub-petals with other qualities. More than that, after describing each petal, she need to say something about the integration of those qualities.
Yeah.
And there you can find even more qualities. So for me, looking carefully for each of those, I find 20 of them, which are, yes.
Yeah.
With, and I saw Mooladhara not like a flower. I saw it more like something in the 3D, which one petal going down. Of course, it's not straight. It's like that. One petal going up, and the 2 petals who go left and right are not left and right, are moving around, because that is like a spin. That's yes. And everything is finished with the last petal, where Shri Mataji make a comment, and she said, I know it by heart, but I read it because I don't want to be wrong. So integration of A, B, C means the subpetals of the 4th one.
Yeah.
Embodiment of Dharma, seeking nectar of existence as instrument of the divine. Do you find something more beautiful than that?
No, I mean, I think that's one of the interesting things about that, is that when we experience the nectar, the bliss, then actually that's the real work. That's actually when we are transforming the world. It's not about going out and talking to people, whatever, actually.
Yes.
It's about channeling the bliss and the joy into this world.
Yeah.
So that's the important work, yeah.
Seeking nectar of existence. Seeking nectar of existence as instrument of the divine. So many layers. We have to seek the nectar of existence, but yes, we are the instrument of the divine. Only as an instrument of the divine, we should seek the nectar of existence.
Well, it's like they talk about Sri Krishna's hollow flute, isn't it?
Yes, that's another.
That you become, the divine music flows through you.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What make you write or translated Ganesha Atharva Sheersah, CHRIS?
Well, I guess the main motivation was that I wanted to know. So, I mean, the reason that I do all this research is because I want to know. But as Mataji made it clear that if you learn something, if you discover something, you should publish it. So one of my early experiences in Sahaj Yoga was typing the Ganesha Atharva Sheersah on a computer and then pressing print. And you put in a piece of paper that has no vibrations, and it comes out of the printer with vibrations.
Wow.
And you think, wow, that's quite something, isn't it? You can make a machine produce vibrations.
That's a work. That's a real work of a divine work.
Yeah. So
making a machine doing some vibrated stuff.
Yeah. So I guess I've always been interested in it. I mean, it's such a powerful thing. Just want to know what it. Again, Shri Mataji told us to do that. She told us to find out the meaning, so that when we say it, we know what we're saying. She made that very clear.
When you write it, how long takes you to have the first version? You told me that you are quite peculiar. You write something and you correct it 20 times.
I don't call that peculiar. I call that normal. But
sorry for the adjective.
They say that any book that's published has been rewritten and re-edited about 20 times. And before it gets published, yeah?
Yeah.
That a printer, a printing company, a publisher,
yeah,
it takes that many goes around,
yeah,
to actually get it right.
So
I started when I moved to India, so 2001. I started on that, and then the first edition came out in 2012. While I was actually teaching in Dharamshala at that time. So that's like 11 years.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the very first edition, which
Okay.
I have it online, but because I want to read it myself, I make it myself a copy.
Right.
And this is the first one from the series in Sahaj Yoga. So that's your first book, and this first edition of the first book.
Right. Yeah. So after that, we discovered quite a lot of things. I mean, one was that the first edition I wasn't aware of. Shri Mataji herself actually did a translation of the Ganesha Atharva Sheersah at the Puja in Australia. So things like that got added into the next editions. So each edition was definitely, should we say, different. It wasn't just the same book kind of reprinted.
Yeah. That's why I make a copy myself also, because I read the second edition as a new book.
Yeah.
So that's the second edition. And finally,
actually, that's the first edition.
And
I recognize that cover, the cover.
Yeah. And finally, the third one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about finally. There might be another one,
yeah.
Yeah. So I discovered, for example, since that book was published, actually the picture on the front cover, the Sri Siddhi Vinayaka statue,
Yeah.
but actually Shri Mataji visited that temple in 1993 and actually personally vibrated that statue.
Wow.
And after that, that became a much more popular temple. So I didn't know that. I discovered that some Sahaj Yogi told me that, an Indian Sahaj Yogi.
After you published the third edition?
Yeah.
So maybe it will be a fourth one?
Well, no, maybe 3.1, yeah.
It's not about me, but I have to tell a little bit about my experience when I writing something, that the satisfaction, let's call it pleasure, the joy of discovering and the aha moment, it's very precious. It's a big joy when you feel that all of the sudden everything it's out and you can see better something. So that's my experience. Although I'm do it for myself. I mean, some of the authors like you are like catalyst or trigger to look deeper in the different senses of something. So, for example, thanks to you, I discovered Gayatri Mantra in Ganesha Atharva Sheersah, and was a trigger for me to go deeper in understanding Gayatri Mantra, which, if you don't mind, we will talk next time, if you agree. But
yeah, I've actually been doing some research on that. Yeah, I discovered some stuff. Yeah,
yeah, I have a small essay about that. Everything is done to make myself more into this, going deep in understanding things. But sorry for that diversion. My question is to you: do you have the same feeling when you discover something? You have the same joy, the same aha moment?
Well, yeah, because I mean, when you have that moment, it's accompanied by a kind of, little bucket full of bliss, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like, whoa, okay, yeah, well, that's nice. So actually, last 6 months or so, I've been saying the 21 names of Sri Vishnu, like most days.
Yes.
Because I wanted to understand, Shri Mataji gave a few talks where she said how they activate the different aspects of the Sushumna Nadi. So I thought, it'd be nice to, meditate on that a bit and
yep.
See if you can work out actually what does each name actually do on the Sushumna. So I've been saying that, say about the last 6 months. And, most days I get at least some little insight into another meaning of one of the names or another possible interpretation. And, again, it's accompanied with a little spurt of vibrations. And, so it's a very joyful occupation, apart from the fact that it, puts you into a very nice state of meditation when by the time you've finished. Because they are actually very powerful names, those 21 names. Although there are actually 24 of them. But, Shri Mataji always calls them the 21 names, so I think we should stick with that.
Stick with that.
Even though there are 24 names.
Another reason. Sorry.
I was going to say, so that's actually my findings on that. It's an appendix in the book about Bija mantras. So at the moment, it's probably about 1 page per name on sort of what I've discovered.
Yeah, I'm sure will be a very interesting reading. Another reason for I like very much your translation for Ganesha Atharva Sheersah is the double meaning of the names, the alternative translations, which give you even more understanding about the name. Because in the end, my belief is that saying the name of God and understand them is a very powerful way of worshiping or trying to know God. Actually, the name of the deities, all the name of the deities, are a way of understanding that deities, the quality of them. What have you done by give us more options in translation of a name? It's helping that understanding.
Okay, well, that's good. I was hoping it wasn't going to just confuse people.
Oh, everybody have his own resonated with that one. Mine is the one I told you, but looks like there are people who, yeah, are not getting it. Anyway, for me, it was so important. Then I never ever talk about Ganesha Atharva Sheersah without recommending the person I'm talking with, go to read that one. Go to see each meaning of the name of the. So Ganesha Atharva Sheersah was very old. It's one of the oldest mantra. Is like a mantra, maybe, but also you can see that there are some is not done straight away in once. So there are it's a compilation. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's many different. Well, there's two main different styles.
Yes.
The first page, the first half, almost every line starts with from. You are. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I think it occurs 35 times from in the first half. Yeah.
Yep.
And not even once in
Yep.
the second half.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's obviously a very different style, the first half and the second half.
I have a topic. My view, but not now. If you agree to continue that discussion on that topic next time, I will make it public now. The topic is the importance of the exterior, the outside should be like inside. The content have the same importance as the vehicle.
Okay, I haven't quite understood that, but go on, yeah.
So the way how we are saying things, or the way how we are, the protocol have the same importance as the content of the prayer.
Okay, yeah. Well, it sounds a bit like they're saying you're going to get out of it whatever you put into it.
Yes. Yes. Because I have some controversy with some people who said, look, there are prayers who have a eulogy about a deity, and all of a sudden we are invited in this prayer, or we are tell how to pronounce things, how who is the sage who said that things, what is the matter. And I said, everything is part of the prayer. Every word have the same importance as any other stuff. But I don't want to talk about this now, to this subject. I promise I will bring it probably in the beginning of our next conversation, because we are getting close to our agreed time.
Really? Oh, deadline, yeah. Okay.
And we want to sleep on that one.
Yeah, actually, that's quite interesting, the idea. I haven't really thought of that too much. Those introductions themselves have a lot of deeper meanings.
I never thought about that. I just feel it is normal. And all of a sudden, one of my acquaintance, Sahaj said, yeah, it's a prayer. But why should we said, the verse 7, who said,
Yeah,
Adim Purva Vucharya. So in that verse 7, we are invited to, we are tell how to said that Gam. Yes, Om Gam Ganapati.
yeah. Twice, in fact. Told twice.
Exactly, is repeated. Plus, um, we will come back next time about that. There are three verses very important who said Ganakari Shihi Nishrit Gayatri Chandach Ganapatir Devata. So there is the sage who said that mantra. The
Yeah,
seer is the sage Ganaka. The meter, it's a mixed Gayatri, and the presiding deity is Sri Ganesha. So I discover that these three things are always mentioned in all the mantras, in all the prayers, in that order. You say the name of the sage,
sage.
you
Yeah,
said the matter, which is very important. We come later to that one where we talk about Gayatri mantra, because Gayatri,
okay.
it's a matter as well, and it's a deity as well. And after,
Yeah,
who is the presiding deity in that order. But and for me, it's when I read that one and I understanding also from you, from your book, I said, wow, means that the way how you said, or the way how we are teach to said a mantra, have the same importance as the content of the mantra. It's not like something separately. If I let this guy doing what he wanted, he will take out from Ganesha Atharva Sheersah the first part of the seven verse.
yeah. But I mean, the point, what interested me about verse 7, before I started working on it, was the fact that this apparently very mundane explanation had a lot of vibrations.
Yes, exactly. But look
Very
mundane
interesting.
is not mundane. Just look mundane.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I can talk with you hours,
Good, okay, that's nice.
but um, since the apparition of the matter, the time also come. So we are not living
Yeah,
in a timeless uh, universe. So because we are matter, we have to obey the time. So
sure. No, we talked on a subject that we didn't actually know we were going to discuss, didn't we? The mantra world.
yeah. Uh,
So,
so for now, I will say goodbye to you, goodbye to the people who are eventually watching us. I'm hoping that you enjoy that, and our viewers as well. We
yeah,
will we will talk about when we will see each other again, hopefully soon. And thank you again, and goodbye, and Jai Shri Mataji for now.
Jai Hind.
Jai Shri Mataji.